There are countless possibilities of future events. We can make guesses, we can wonder and worry, or we can take steps to have more safety and security. There are never any guarantees, but we can certainly do our best to protect ourselves in some very unconventional ways. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to talk about solutions to protect from the global economic collapse. It's impossible to know exactly what will happen, exactly how it's going to unfold, and where it's going to come from. What we do know is that we can take steps today in order to ensure the best possible outcome and to reduce the effect that these cycles, which are inevitable, have on you and your family. Disruption. When the economy is doing well, no recession in sight, and everyone has a job, it's very easy to manage your position. Disposable income is present and debt is under control. That sounds fantastic. That's where we're at today, where so many people feel elated, feel wonderful, and feel bountiful. However, when there are disruptions, suddenly everything changes. Despite the short memories that people have, this is part of a normal cycle of booms and busts specifically created by central bank monetary policy. They are the ones that create the cycles. This would be practically non-existent if it wasn't for central banks and what they do, but this is where we're at today, so we have to plan accordingly. You can ease the burden of these uncertain times by working in advance to make preparations, structured, thoughtful preparations. You can't just do what they tell you. You're going to be prepared if you have a 401k. No, we are talking about very direct, thoughtful, structured preparations. Diversification. Wealth must be diversified. This term is used entirely incorrectly in the financial world and needs to be addressed. Holding mutual funds, a 401k, and owning a home is absolutely not a diversified scenario, yet this is what financial advisors push people to work towards. And I can't believe it, but this is what I see every single day. People are told you have to have a 401k and some mutual funds and some cash in the bank and you're all good. But this isn't the case. This cannot be the case because we see regularly how much people are living at the absolute edge. They are in maximum amount of debt. They use their home equity line of credit. They have reverse mortgages. They do everything possible to push themselves to the very last part of that cliff, and then suddenly a gust of wind comes by and takes them out. Instead, we need to understand how cycles work, what the central banks do with monetary policy, and mitigate the inevitable risks. I've talked about this in both of my books, as well as on these videos. That's what I discuss, how central bank activity affects what we are seeing in the markets and in the economy. This behavior here is not documented anywhere else except the information that I show you. You can get that information elsewhere, I just happen to piece it together. There are many layers to preparation, but for the purposes of this video, we will focus on the financial aspects. So you can go one place or another and you could see information that may be valid to you. However, for the purpose of the Money GPS, we're just going to focus on the financial side. Asset classes. There are many asset classes. Paper assets are just one asset class, and yet most people only ever have paper, if anything at all. This is extremely unwise for multiple reasons, which we will discuss. The four asset classes are paper, precious metals and commodities, real estate, and business. All four have advantages and disadvantages. This varies throughout their cycles, which vary in length of time. So depending where you are in the cycle of that particular asset, it's going to be overvalued, it's going to be undervalued, it's going to be fair valued. It depends on the particular asset. It depends on where you are. It depends on so many factors here, but you have to know where you are in the cycle, and that means paying attention. This means there are certain assets which are better to purchase at other times because perhaps they are overvalued today, and you look at this on a very long-term scale. You don't just blindly buy into something thinking that it's going to go up forever. We'll discuss exactly why that's the case. Throughout uncertain times, we must hold on to real, I stress, real assets in order to provide additional financial security and stability. I discuss this in both of my books in two concepts. One is the Money GPS formula and one is the Money GPS strategy. If you've read both of my books, then you have that detail. So I'm going to be be covering that information today. If you're unaware of this, if you go to my playlist called How To and Solutions, I do talk about this to some degree, and that's available at the end of this video. So I will link to it at the end of this video so you can check it out at the end, but stay tuned for this information. Investing versus creating. I'm only using this as an example to highlight something that I see all the time. This is just one business that I'm using as an example. When you put money into a stock like Facebook, you are investing in this company and waiting for price appreciation. Your expectation is that this company will provide you with an asset that has appreciated over a period of time. It's speculation. You put your money in and hope that you need to, let's say, retire in 20 years from now, that Facebook will be worth more at that point. And this is just an example, of course. But we don't know what's going to happen with this company in between now and then. You suggest maybe if something goes wrong, I can always sell, no big deal, it's liquid, and fair enough, you could do so. However, for the purposes here, go with me. If you instead invest in Facebook ads to generate traffic to your website or business, you are directly investing in what should be a profitable business and reap the rewards, but not at a future date, but immediately. Think about that for a second. You could use their platform and invest in a different way. Let's say you're going to put $1,000 directly into Facebook stock. Well, instead, I spend $1,000 on Facebook ads. I can bring those people to me and generate profit that day, that week, that month, and not have to worry about what Mark Zuckerberg is doing and if there's going to be a scandal on any date in the future. I am directly providing myself with a way to put money in and take money out. Of course, if the ads are not very good, if there are issues with my business itself, that's my own problem. That's not Facebook's problem. Business offers much better tax advantages as opposed to paper assets, writing off expenses, and low corporate tax rates. No matter where you go, you find that corporate tax rates everywhere are always lower than personal tax rates. So if you had a corporation, which is very cheap to set up, very easy to set up, you could then lower your taxable income. At the same time, you're going to do so by writing off your expenses. Your Facebook ads that you spent money on are now a write-off. All of the business expenses are. So instead of putting money in, taking money out, that's capital gains, you now have a business. And this is so different. People don't get it. You're investing versus creating. Okay? Creation allows you so many advantages that the typical 401k type investor doesn't have. That's why people need to get active about their investments. Business puts you in the driver's seat. Do you understand? I hope so. I'm going to make an entire video about this. If you want to see that, please let me know in the comments. I've been working on it. I've been writing up everything to do with it, but I want to know what you're thinking. Passive income. Having passive income is absolutely essential because it works when you sleep. This could be from a real estate investment property, an online business, or any form of steady and stable income that doesn't require your daily input. So this could be, like I said, from real estate. So you have investment properties and there's a renter in there. He pays you a paycheck every single month. You didn't have to necessarily do anything on a daily basis. Sure, you might need to do some repairs. You might need to do some work. You might need to go visit the property, but you don't need to do so 24/7. If you have certain types of investments, you're always keeping an eye out for them, and a lot of it is out of your control. That's really the difference here. Looking at online businesses could be something as well. This is very important because these online businesses work regardless of where you physically are. So you could be in the middle of nowhere and you are selling a product or service to people that are in the big cities all around the world. It's a fantastic opportunity 24/7, and you could piggyback off of these huge platforms, whether it is Facebook, Google, or so on. If you are encountering an emergency or health issue, you may lose your job and your income suddenly disappears. Your savings will only last so long. This is my issue here. So people, they work a 9-to-5 job and maybe they're saving up in a 401k. Then something takes them off their feet. Maybe it's a health emergency. Maybe you have somebody in your family that needs you to be there full time. Then you have no income, or maybe you have a very small income, a pension or something that's there. And of course that will dwindle whittle away everything that you have. When you have this 401k, you're going to be pulling money out. You're going to take capital gains. You are going to pay taxes on the money that you pull out. You are taking from a pot of money that will never last forever. Doesn't matter how big that pot is, unless you are maybe Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, you're not going to be able to pull from that forever. When you set up a business that operates with or without you, you can then extend that for an extremely long period of time. And if it's done very well, that could even be passed on to future generations. Having another source of income is essential to reduce the effect of these potential issues which do arise from time to time. Many people say, I'm going to work for the rest of my life. And what happens to so many unfortunate circumstances on these people and their lives? They're very affected by it. And they didn't really plan for it because they thought, hey, everything's going to be just fine. But time to time, these things do occur. Reduce your expenses. Being able to reduce your expenses is really important. You can penny pinch, clip coupons, and generally live below your means. This only goes so far. There's only so many coupons that you can clip. Bigger steps will help you prepare for any disaster. Energy. Energy is something that we all consume regularly. We can reduce our expenses on energy by making some changes. Many people have started to build, quote, passive homes, essentially a very sealed and insulated home, and the clothes dryer heat is brought back into the home to heat it, among other factors here. But this is basically the new thing that people have decided to do with minimal upfront costs when they're building the home, and of course gives them a lot of benefit down the road. Solar panels have been more affordable and quite popular in some areas, particularly with those longer daylight hours, as well as the areas that give tax incentives to do so. Geothermal heat has also been used more often today, which allows people to heat their home. Now, this is just one section. This is not detailed whatsoever. I'm just trying to highlight the point here that we spend money on our energy every single day, and there are things that we can do, yes, that require an upfront cost, but down the road, lower expenses. And that gives us safety and security. That's my point. So when people see their 401k as being safe and secure, I think they are actually highly reliant on the central bank policies. Whereas if I had something, a means of providing myself with my own energy, or at least a portion of my own energy, that to me is much more safe and secure. Food. It's something that we consume regularly, and in a given year, our expenses surely add up. Over time, this also tends to get more expensive. So think about that. You know, next year, 10 years from now, food is going to cost more tomorrow than it did today. So knowing that, we can actually mitigate some of the issues by growing at least a portion of our own food. It's going to give us healthier, fresher food. There's no doubt about that. But it will also reduce the costs significantly over time, because you can use the seeds, which are basically free, plant them, and you will be able to provide yourself with a lot of food in some cases. But I know what so many people are thinking. I live in Canada. I live in Norway. I live in a place that's freaking cold. Well, even in very cold climates, food can be grown outdoors using a double wall greenhouse. If you don't believe me, check out 1 Yard Revolution. There's an Instagram, there's a YouTube. He is in Chicago, grows in the freezing cold, and using a double wall greenhouse, no active heating necessary. Of course, it doesn't mean that you can grow a coconut palm tree. This means specifically that you will grow food that is designed to be grown in colder climates. Check him out, definitely. Growing sprouts indoors provides extremely cheap food that is readily available. Like I said, you're not going to be able to necessarily grow all the food you consume, but certainly in a small area, you can provide yourself with a way to reduce your overall costs. Effort. Nothing will come easy. Providing effort on a daily basis in order to achieve your goals, whatever they are. There are an unlimited number of businesses that you can start which could make you money on the side, even if you're disabled. In most cases, as long as you can operate a computer, you can make money online. If you're a handyman or have a particular skill, you need to look for avenues to make money from it, okay? Get out there and advertise what you can do. Do not rely on one single income. It is too dangerous. dangerous. If you could find a way to make money in your sleep, then you should do so, okay? If you have a particular skill, you need to package up that skill and sell it to others out there who need it. So for example, if you know how to fix something, okay, that other people don't, maybe it's gonna be fixing a faucet, okay? You're an expert at fixing faucets or fixing toilets. You can package this information up and sell it to people for a very fair price, and somebody's gonna save a lot of money by buying that product from you. If you can teach people how to actually save money by buying that which you sell, obviously you're doing them a favor and you're gonna be making money from it, okay? That's just one thing that I'm talking about, but understand how this system works and you will be able to take advantage of it. When you passively invest your money and effort, you will be subject to the central bank cycles to a great degree, and I hope I make myself clear on that. If I'm gonna invest in, for example, anything, whether that's real estate, whether that is stocks or anything else, based on this passive way of investing, I'm gonna wait for appreciation, okay? That doesn't mean I'm looking at dividends. That doesn't mean I'm looking at the income that I receive monthly. I'm specifically talking about a price appreciation, which is generated to a great degree by what central banks do. Then I am passively, I'm leaving it up to them. I'm saying central banks make me money. Instead, making preparations allows you to reduce the effect that these have on you and your family. That's what I'm trying to put out to you. I talked about this at length in The Money GPS and Global Economic Collapse, both of my books. If you want to look more into this detail for free, I have some information in the playlist, How To and Solutions, here on this channel. I'll link to it at the end. I'm going to end the video there. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a like on this video, you're supporting me, supporting this channel, so I do appreciate that very much. If you want the financial education that wasn't taught to you in school, well then these two books have everything you need, top to bottom, A to Z. All the details are located at the link in the description. If you want the audiobook, that's available at themoneyGPS.com. If you want to see the How To and Solutions playlist, you can click right here. It'll bring you into the playlist, or you can go to my channel, scroll down, and you will see it there for yourself, as well as many other videos around these topics. See you there.